Welcome back.
Our place, where we can dream and share it. Our place, we'll find a friend to care it. Our place,
We are Our Place Out Loud.
you're not
You are not alone at Our Place. I am your lovely and captivating host, Louise Palanker, here with a panel of wise and wonderful teens. We have Montana, Kiamute, Ryan, Nico, and we have Sarah. Of course, in the booth, we have Jake. And we have a special in-studio guest with us tonight. We have Jeff Schimmel. Give it up for Jeff Schimmel. Came all the way from the road up into the house. And you live here in Los Angeles, correct?
Calabasas.
And how would you describe yourself professionally speaking?
Writer, last 28 years.
Not writer / producer / director.
Yeah, not director, but yeah, I've produced stuff.
So what are some
TV.
things that you've written that would impress friends and family?
Impress? I don't know. I don't know about anything that would impress anyone. I was a writer on Living Color 20 years ago, way back when it was good. And I was a writer on Full House, if you remember that show. I think it's on reruns everywhere, like every day. I still get residual checks for that, like 23 cents or something. Let's see what
So
else.
did you write "Cut It Out" or did you write? What are some other catchphrases from?
You got it, dude.
You got it, dude.
No.
Did you write
I-
any of the famous
Yes.
Full House catchphrases?
I did
Which
write one
ones?
of the most famous episodes, though.
Okay.
The one where Michelle falls off the bike and has
Is
to
that
get
the
back
one
on.
where Michelle learns her lesson?
Yes. And with sappy music playing at the end. One of my complaints when I was working on that show, I didn't know better. I didn't know that you're allowed or not allowed to complain. I asked, why is a 3-year-old giving the adults advice? And then they took me aside and said, apparently you don't watch the show. I thought it was a poker show when I got hired.
Ah, Full House. Wow. So which seasons of because Full House was on for like 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So
I was there when Michelle fell off the bike,
Yep.
obviously. I was there when Jesse had the twins.
okay.
Yeah, it's about all I remember. I know that I got married on a Sunday, and I had to be back at work on Monday. So I still owe my wife a honeymoon.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I have kind of a sad, funny / Full House story. All right, so I'm dating a guy with a kid, and we get we know Bob Saget, so we get Full House tickets. So we're taking this kid because you could take little kids to Full House. Like you had to be like 12 or something to go to a real show, but you could take little kids to Full House. So
It was hard to get adults to go, but yes. I
yeah,
understand.
kids would go. So we knew Bob Saget, so we went to Full House, and we took Brittany and a friend to Full House, and they had the new twins. They had Jesse's twins,
Right.
and so they were little boys, and there was a baby wrangler. And
Right.
and so the camera would be on the babies, and she'd be getting them to say their line. And I guess they were babies, so sometimes they didn't say their line, and so everyone cut, and and Brittany and her friends had to go to the bathroom, so I took them out, and then audibly heard one of the babies say the following: "I'm not working good."
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was. And so I turned to the page and I said, "Did you just hear that?" Because I was a page.
Right.
I speak page. Yeah. So I speak page. So I said, "Did you just hear that?" And she went, "Yeah." She goes, "Last week he fell asleep behind his sunglasses."
Wow.
So
That's amazing. Well, a sad fact about Full House
kids in show, yes.
is that the dog had its voice box removed, so it couldn't bark during the tapings of the show. And so whenever you watch the show, I'm not advocating that you watch the show, but if you do watch it and the dog barks, that was added in post because the dog could not bark because they didn't want it to mess up any of the takes. It's expensive to shoot a show.
That's like you can't say no animals were harmed
Yes.
in the making of this telecast
I
because
don't think it says that at the
they
end of
were.
that show.
It would be a lie.
But it wasn't hurt during the show. I think it was hurt like during a hiatus week or something. But yeah, that's it was fun. It was fun. It was interesting.
Well, I mean, sometimes Full House. You guys have seen Full House, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, You
it's
guys,
not really edgy for teens.
any
are not-
questions for Jeff Schimmel?
Yeah, but when I was younger, I always used to watch Full House. I didn't really know any better.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. This show was just 3 guys in San Francisco living in the same house with a bunch of kids.
And they're all straight? Like that would happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Just the guys living in San Francisco part was kind of weird that
You
they
know
were
what?
straight.
I said that on my first day at work. I said, let me get this straight. It's 3 single guys in San Francisco living in the same house. Are you sure this is a kid's show?
That must have been fun to pitch.
Yeah. It was, it was an interesting experience, but my favorite thing about working on that show had nothing to do with Full House. We were on the Sony lot in Culver City, and I had an office in the Myrna Loy building, and I don't know if anybody in the room other than maybe the 3 of us know who Myrna Loy was, but anyway, I'm sorry, by the way, for even lumping you into that category.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I
But
love show business.
so one day I was late going to a rehearsal on stage, and I was running as fast as I could to get there, and as I was turning a corner, Francis Coppola came around the corner on his bike, and he came very close to hitting me head on with this bicycle.
You almost got hit by Coppola?
Yes, I know. So he slammed on his brakes, and he apologized profusely, and I was just staring at him because I'm the biggest movie fan that I know of, and I can do dialogue from his movies from now till forever. So I said, can I ask you a question? And he said, ugh, I know it's going to be about The Godfather, right? And I said, no, it's about The Conversation, which was his favorite movie, but is kind of a lot of people never saw it. So I asked him a question, and once I talked to him about The Conversation, he then didn't want to let me go. And I'm like, I got to go to a rehearsal. No. So I told him my name and that I was in the Myrna Loy building, and when I came to work the next morning, there was a signed picture of Coppola on my desk, and he signed it with a silver, like a metallic Sharpie.
Wow.
So cool. It's in my garage somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Oh,
but
take it out of the garage. It's gonna
Yeah,
get
but
moist.
he's awesome. Anyway.
That's a really good show business story. All right, we're going to dive into questions from kids. Do we have any announcements? Is everyone having summer fun? What's been going on? Anything, Ryan? Oh, you were on a sports podcast last week.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I missed last week. I was on a UCLA podcast called What's Brewin' with the editor.
What's brewing? I get it. It's
Yeah.
wordplay.
It is wordplay, Wizzy. And yeah, I was on that podcast. My editor runs it for the website I write for. And yeah, that's where I was. But I was actually going to say my summer plans. I have an internship with the Washington Nationals baseball team.
Wow.
So I'm super excited for that. I just found that out yesterday.
You're a baseball player now?
No.
Oh.
I like
What do
work
you?
for
What's
them.
your job going to be to do?
I'll be shadowing around in different departments and kind of getting an idea of what the business side of sports is like.
That is a really cool internship. Who else has a cool internship? Anybody?
Well, I'm going there anyways for a program for Georgetown for broadcast journalism. So
Oh,
kind of all fits together.
fun.
Can I give you a small piece of advice,
Yes,
which
Most
is
definitely.
good for any intern?
Mhm.
Just so you know, 2 and 2 means 2 coffee. 2 cream, 2 sugar. Just you need to know
Okay.
that because they'll just say 2 and 2.
And I'll be like, what does
You'll be
that even
running.
mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless it's Chuck Woolery, then it means something else, right?
don't
Didn't
wanna
get that
know.
reference.
I'm scared. Nico, do you have a cool internship?
Not really an internship. I was just going to try to get a job at Universal over the summer.
You'd be
They-
a good tour guide because you're funny.
I wish that was one of the jobs. They are only letting... I think they only let the kids under 18 be... If I could be
Can you be
Shrek. I don't want to be Shrek. So. No, they only give you like the crap jobs, like the work at the snack bar. Oh no, I could be at the carnival jobs. That would be a lot of fun. Or I would just work with my friend over at GameStop or something. I'm not really getting any fancy internships like Ryan, but
Well, you
No.
you could ask
I'd
Ryan
actually
to
be
maybe
making
put in a
money,
good
so I
word
don't
for
know.
you. You have a fancy internship, Montana?
It's not really fancy or like an internship. I'm just going. Is it working?
Because everything else is going right tonight.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh my God, the
we're
other
moving
day,
mics around.
this just reminded
Justin,
me, when Montana was like, hello, that reminded me the other
and
day
I'm
in
giving
Spanish.
you a
My friend's
play-by-play.
phone rang, and I just went, hello, and my teacher turned around thinking I answered the phone.
We are still
she was-
doing the show, Ryan.
I know, I was just filling. I'm just buying us time.
Oh,
telling
you
the
are,
story.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that was, yeah, so my friend's phone rang, and I was like, hello, and because my teacher thought I answered the phone, but I didn't. That was the whole story. But Montana said
Okay,
hello.
Montana's fancy,
So-
not an internship, and not fancy.
I'm going to Hong Kong
Only me and Ryan get to speak.
She's going to Hong Kong for the summer. It's not a fancy internship. What's next? Hello? What's next, Montana?
Okay, you will be my voice.
Yeah. I'm Montana's voice.
I'm going there to like hang out with like my godmother and like make music.
She's going to hang out with her godmother and make music and enjoy herself in Hong Kong.
And yeah,
Going
Yeah.
to Hong Kong. Montana's going to Hong Kong, everybody.
Have you ever been to Hong Kong?
once.
When you were a little kid?
Yeah, when I was little, I remember. Oh, it's up back on. I remember my dad. So he's like the only white guy there, and he's like 6'2", and then in a sea of short Asians, and like we're walking past this department store, and there's a giant wax figure of Bruce Lee, and so he feels the need to take off his shirt and pose next to Bruce Lee because he just loves him so much. So literally, like hundreds of people are like gathered around him, staring like, oh, Bruce Lee.
That's so cute. And Jake, you have a fancy internship, right? Oh, we might not. Yeah, Jake has a fancy internship. Yeah.
I don't have a fancy internship. No, I don't have a mic. Am I just talking to no one again?
Jake is talking to no one again. Wow, this is wonderful right now. I'm in.
The show is more fun when people try to guess what we're saying.
You can just mouth the whole thing and you insert your own subtitles. Am I talking now?
No one would be sad about anything we said. That's for
No,
sure.
there's still no sounds.
Yeah, there you are.
Oh, sounds? Sounds. Okay, cool. So it's not a fancy internship, but I'm working at a summer camp where you teach kids how to make video games or like program little microcontrollers, and that's gonna be fun because nerdy children are like the best kind of little children,
My favorites.
and it's gonna be really fun.
And then you're
Sports
going to
children
Davis.
are where it's at.
Oh yeah,
What-
and
what-
then I'm.
Can I apply? Is it like A and up or something? Because you know.
It is like it's like 6 to 12.
Oh, God,
But,
I just miss it.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Then I'm going to UC Davis for an engineering thing, and that's gonna be fun.
Yay. All right, summer fun. Let's dive into questions. We are at 888-531-7171 here with Jeff Schimmel, and we can answer all of your questions about writing and pursuing your dreams. This question comes in from Abby Michelle. So my best friend and her ex recently became friends. They don't want to get back together, but work things out. Well, I really like her ex. I think he likes me too. He flirts with me a lot. If we become a thing, I have no clue how my friend will react. What do I do? Hands are going up. Ryan.
This is similar to a question we get a lot, and it's basically, I don't want to make my best friend feel bad by dating someone they used to or now want to date. And it seems like a really common solution, especially if you're close with the person, is just to ask them. You know, if they're really just friends with this person and you know they're not interested, hey, would you mind if I, went on a date with so-and-so or something like that? Or how would you react if this happened or that happened? And that's the kind of thing that if you're close enough with someone, you can ask them that question, and they should be able to respond openly, especially if they're not interested in this person anymore.
Yes. However, I have seen that question asked, and I have seen people respond deceptively because they try to get all brave and say what they think they're supposed to say, and it ruins the friendship because they didn't tell the truth. So if anyone ever asks you if it would bother you if someone dated someone, and it would, you also need to tell your truth. So the truth is your friend, asking questions is your friend, knowledge and information are your friend, and then you can make your next decision accordingly.
But if the person's being deceptive, isn't that basically answering the question that they do care? Because, you wouldn't be deceptive if you didn't care.
But how are you, if someone says, no, you can date him, like, you really have to know your friend to know.
Oh, I see
is
what you're
he-
saying. I
is
thought
she-
you meant saying, no, you can't. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, that...
is she telling the
pretty clear.
truth? Like, you
Got it.
have to know your friend. Like,
yeah, and
read
express that.
her body. Don't text her, can I date Seth? Like, really ask her in person. And, and if she's like, it's okay, and she starts shaking and sweating profusely.
Then you call
it's
911.
really not okay. And you're like, you know what? Tell me
She
the
starts
truth.
sweating
Because
and foaming at the mouth.
honestly,
Call
like, if
911.
you're going to choose, like, dating someone over a long-term friendship, that is something you may live to regret. So really, really think about whether or not it's worth it.
Can I give you a different answer?
Yes.
Okay. I think you should play it safe if this happens. If they say, please don't date that person, don't do it. If they say, it's okay with me, don't do it. Either way, don't do it, because it can't lead to anything good, in my opinion. I've seen this happen many times over the years. Most relationships don't work out anyway, even
Yeah.
under the best of circumstances. So if you're getting into something that could go bad, I would try to not go into it as early as possible.
So would you say at what point are you free and clear to date someone post them having dated someone that you're friends with? Like never?
I think it's always going to cause a problem because you took the words right out of my mouth about the deception.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will play it off and say, no, it's fine. I'm cool with it, even if time goes by. But you know and I know that after years go by, you still always have a little thing for that person. And even if it's tiny, you're still going to feel weird about it if your friend is with that person.
And you know what I think it is? It's like it may not be a thing. It may be more of, I don't want to see him with you. Like, and I can't even describe why that bothers me. Like, we
Right.
do have some feelings that are difficult to express, or if we tried to find the words, they would sound selfish. Like, yeah, I can't have him. I don't want you to have him either. Like, it doesn't matter if that's what's going on, because that's a human thing.
Yeah.
And it just may be like when I'm in a room and I look across the room and you're with him now, I'm just not going to like the view. That's not...
And what if you know something about them that you believe will cause a bad relationship to come from this?
that's a whole
then
other layer.
you have to warn someone.
And then they hate you because now you're putting down the guy they're dating.
And they will end up both hating you.
And you're just saying that because you don't want me to date him.
Right.
And it's that whole thing. Montana.
But often, no matter what people say, like if you ask them and they say, "Is it still on?"
Just always try going like that, because that's what Justin seems to do. No, pushing this into the microphone. Yeah. Thank you, Keo.
Okay, so there we go.
That seems to be what's loose. Maybe we need new chords.
So most of the time, or not most of the time, but a good deal of the time, what happens is people will ask, and then they'll either say like, "No, you can't do that," or like, "Yeah, you can." And either way, whatever they answer, they will probably just date them anyway, because a lot of the time it just gets better. It just gets the better of you, and you do it anyway. And at that point, it's like he said, it's really not a great thing to do just because of all the complication that comes after. Only do it if you're truly sure, like, you're okay with, like, not having that friend be as close.
Yeah.
And possibly having this relationship ruin everything and fail.
It will definitely affect the friendship. So let's
definitely.
not pretend
Always.
that it won't. So go ahead, Keo, and then we have a phone call.
I don't. Is this working still?
Yeah.
I don't think that there could even not be any deception, but somebody could be like, "Oh yeah, that's fine with me," and then when they actually see it happening, they're like, "Oh, I am actually not okay with that." So it can, like,
He's
people
cutting in and
don't.
out, Justin.
People
I think
don't.
it's on his end, because when he pushes that in, we can hear the static.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, it's just that there's static
Okay.
on the line.
But people don't necessarily always know themselves extremely well. So, I mean, that's something also to, like, think about, because even if they say it's okay, which they might be lying, they might also just not know.
Yeah, or actually seeing it may cause like some sort of
Right.
just kind of base response that they didn't even realize was there. We're going to go to the phone. Do we have a caller, Yulia? Hello, thank you for calling our place. Who's this?
Hello.
Hi, is this Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer?
Uh-huh.
Did you have something to say about the topic or something else to add to this evening's?
If we're still on the same topic about the friend and the ex and the that, are we still on that one?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good.
Good.
Good. I just have one saying. Sisters before misters. Because you're going to stay with your best friend longer than you're going to stay with this boy or whatever that you're crushing on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know who came up with sisters before misters, but that's a good rhyme, and it's better than the male version, which has kind of like a
Bros before women.
disrespectful bros before ladies.
Women.
Yeah, so there seems to be like a
Women
rhyming
is.
version of that on both sides of the spectrum or the gender equation.
Bros over garden implements.
So thank you. There's a reason you were picked to write for Uncle Jesse because you know how to turn a phrase. Yes, thank you for calling, Mrs. Chris Culfer. We really appreciate you keeping your streak intact, and we will talk to you next week. All right, we're going to jump.
I had a question.
Okay, real
for
quick.
You.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay.
Start talking.
Okay. So, school's out and summer's here for most people. What are some things that people can do on their breaks?
Well, I always feel like it's your parents' job to line up a summer full of summer fun. But I do hear from a lot of kids in our place that don't have anything to do. And I think that it wouldn't hurt to Google your hometown plus teen activities and see what comes up, because there's a ton of stuff. And most kids that are 14 or 15 don't exactly know that it might be right around the corner. But even just volunteering and getting involved in your community, whether it be like a pet shelter or an after-school program for little kids or an elder care facility where, you showing up would really brighten somebody's day. What do you guys have on the panel? Imagine that your parents weren't lining up summer fun for you, Ryan. What would you go and do?
Yeah, well, I have like a huge issue with boredom. I can't deal with being bored, and that's something I've had to really get over. But if my parents don't plan anything for me, I generally don't end up doing anything, and then I get really stressed. So if you can find a way, because I don't really have any particular suggestions for what you can do specifically, but if you can find a way to be kind of creative and come up with something, talk to your friends now and plan something for a little later, because it might be a little too short notice to plan anything for the next couple of days. You can do some fun things with your friends. This also reminded me of a question we got like last winter, I think. I don't know why it popped in my head, but we were talking to someone in Canada.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do arts and crafts, and they didn't have glue, and we had this whole concept of like whether they or not they had glue in Canada or something.
That's the most important question we've ever
Do you remember
addressed.
that?
Yes.
We went on for like 30 minutes, and we debated whether or not they had glue in Canada.
Glue in Canada,
So
yes.
if you have glue wherever you
the
are,
Canadian glue shortage.
like if you have glue wherever you are, use it.
The other thing that is really fun and easy to do nowadays is just do your own podcast. If you just have a computer, even any kind of Mac comes with like podcasting software, and you don't have to have cameras and but you can do your own radio show like fairly simply right now, I believe.
An Our Place spinoff.
And you're such a good, you could be Our Place Junior, and you're such a good communicator, Mrs. Jordan, because you always communicate with us really well. Jakey. We should not have our own podcast because we're clearly in over our heads.
Talking? Yep. Cool, okay. So, if you have like $40 in access to Amazon, you can buy a ukulele, I learned. Oh, am I talking closer into it? Is that what I'm doing now?
It was cutting in and out.
Oh, okay.
It's not you.
So,
you bought a ukulele.
if you can buy, I bought a ukulele at like a local, at like Guitar Center or something like that, but you can learn most songs on ukulele. It's like $40, and whenever you're bored, you'll be like, I'm bored. I'm going to mess around on the internet for the rest of time. That's pretty easy to do and just get absorbed in that. But am I talking? Okay.
It's not him. It's the mic.
Okay.
You don't have to move his head. It's definitely something wrong with the mic and or the cord.
Yeah, you can just let just let that be a hobby. If you pick any hobby, it doesn't have to be ukulele. It can be like you want to get really good at chess or something, online chess. You can pick a hobby and just do it whenever you're bored, and it'll help the boredom be a lot easier to suffer. Be a lot better to suffer through.
I was trying to show.
We may have to just. I'm sorry. We may have to just share one microphone because this is just way too distracting.
Should I unravel this one? So we
yeah,
can, right.
I'm thinking if we can't troubleshoot that one, then we should just hand off the one that's working. Yeah. So that we can. Yeah. Like what Jake was saying was, if you have an interest in something, it's so possible to go online and find tutorials and or ukulele chords and or anything and learn and decide this summer I'm going to learn something new. And you cannot believe how much better you feel about yourself when you kind of master a new art form. Go ahead, Nico.
I thought it was always really important to be open to stuff you wouldn't usually be able to, and that's something I tried like a while back, and that's how I got into Opal. Like pretty much just last week, she called me up and said, "Hey Nico, I need you to drive half an hour away." Sarah over here. She told me, "Hey Nico, I need you to drive half an hour away to play a part in this movie I'm doing for my final." And I was like, you know what, why not? Yeah. And I ended up having fun, and it was a good time until she just threw my pizza away, which was really weird.
Okay, Sarah, I need to hear your side of the story. Please defend yourself because, I just think that Nico is a chronic fibber.
I want to hear where I was.
Yeah,
No.
Ryan would have been good in this movie.
No, I threw the pizza. I threw it.
You threw a pizza at Nico.
No. He was holding the pizza, and I hit it out of his hand and threw it in the trash can.
Were you angry with him?
No.
Were you angry at the pizza?
It was just an impulse.
Well, yeah, it just happened. I
Did
didn't.
pizza do something to you?
Yep.
Or did
Yes.
Nico do something to you?
It's always Nico.
It's all Nico's fault.
Why do you even ask? All right, we're going to let you go, Mrs. Culfer, so we can free up the phone line, but I want to hear from Jeff Schimmel. Like, how did you get into writing, and as a young kid, how did you realize you had a talent in this area?
Okay, well, by the way, my summers when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to do anything fun. My parents made me go to summer school every year when I was in junior high.
That's not summer fun.
First year of no, it really wasn't, and I had to take a full load of classes as if I were in school. And so I would look out the window and see my friends in the neighborhood playing, and I was up there doing homework. But as a result of that, I graduated from high school when I was 15. So that
And
was
then
the
did you
upside.
Travel the world and then write your memoirs?
No, I ended up going to college too early, which is a mistake. You know, it's
So
really
you were
not
like
good.
Doogie college boy.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, I went to University of Washington first, and at that time there were about 40,000 students, and half of them were girls that were all older than me, and I thought, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. And it was, but when you're 15, it really isn't that great, because the next oldest person is so much older than you know, and the first girl that I liked was a senior. So
Wow.
she
So
was
that's-
21, she didn't want to talk to me, but anyway,
Yeah.
why would she? She
Any
wouldn't
good
talk to me now, probably.
Any good parties this weekend?
So I got into writing by accident. I graduated from law school. That's why I came out to L.A.
Wow.
And I was introduced to a couple of guys. I had an idea for a movie, and I was introduced to J.J. Abrams' father.
Really?
Yeah, Jerry Abrams, and I sold him an idea for a movie, and I thought, wow, that's easy. I'll just get into this, which it's not that easy. It really isn't. And but I got lucky. Right after that, I was introduced to a very well-known comedian and actor who moved me into his apartment in New York with him for a year, and I worked with him, and I've been writing since then.
You can't tell us who it is. Was it Woody Allen?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Ah.
I wish it was Woody Allen.
Yep.
I don't know
it
who
wasn't.
that is, but his last name is epic.
Dangerfield.
And that's not his real name. It wasn't his real name.
Oh.
He's dead now, but his real name was Jacob Cohen.
That's less epic.
Yeah.
A little less. A little less. All right, let's move
More
on to...
Jewish, less.
Do we
less
still
epic.
have someone on the phone, Justin?
Yes.
Oh, because I wanted to say goodbye to Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer and say see you next week so we can leave the phone line open. We are at 888-531-7171. I am Louise Palanker. We are Our Place Out Loud here with a panel of wise and wonderful kids. This coming in from Lonely Heart. My friend has a boyfriend, and he's been forcing her into things. Not rape, but other things. She's on FaceTime with him every second she's not in school, and he complains that that's not enough. He's constantly making fun of what she says. She has a very shy personality, so when she shows anyone what she's thinking or feeling, no matter how random it is, it's a big step for her. But what he does with it is he laughs and holds it over her and makes fun of her. He's pressuring her into sex, and she knows to say no if she doesn't want to, but then he complains and says that since he's her boyfriend, he knows what's best for her, and she should do whatever he wants. He's basically controlling her. Ryan.
Well, there's a lot of different levels to this one for sure.
Yeah.
I know the first part I've had experience with, like my friends always talking to their girlfriends, and it's like when I'm hanging out with them, like I've gone on vacation with my friends, and all they do is like text their girlfriends, and like it's one thing to like care about that person and text them sometimes, but when it hinders your relationships with other people, then it's like kind of an issue. So for the FaceTiming thing, I think that's something you should just express to her and let her know that it kind of is hurting you, that you're not getting to spend as much time with her. And also maybe let him know that that's how it's affecting you, because he might not realize that. But that's not as much your place to like really try and step in, more just kind of like let them know how you're feeling. As for the shy personality, like I interpreted this as like maybe he's like jokingly teasing her, maybe he's actually being kind of mean to her, but I would hope she would know if he was being mean to her and do something about that, like not date this guy. But then again, he seems kind of controlling, so that might not be too easy for someone who's shy. And then as for like pressuring her into sex and stuff like that and saying, I'm your boyfriend, I know what's best for you, like make sure you remind her that that's not how things work, that like you know what's best for you generally. I mean, your parents do sometimes too. But just remind her that she can make her own good decisions. Montana, what do you think?
I really think this guy has like some sort of inferiority complex because everything he's trying to do is like trying to control her and limit her from like he's limiting her from like talking to other people and having her own life, and he's not letting her have her like opinions without like it being made fun of. So and then she's like, oh, pressuring her into sex. Well, first of all, that's illegal. But second of all, it just seems like he has, I don't know what's going on in his life, but he has probably no control, so he's trying to control her. And how I would tell her friend to handle that, like, if you don't let, like, a random stranger come up to you and control you and tell you what to do, why does somebody who is supposedly cares about you have the right to do that? And, like, I know if that were me, I'd be angry about it. Like, she probably feels scared because she likes him and stuff, but at a certain point, you can like and care about somebody, but you have to know, like, when to defend yourself.
Do you think that it's possible that people with low self-esteem, sort of that low self-esteem creates a vacuum within which they pull others with low self-esteem, so they become this codependent, poorly functioning kind of organism that's really unhealthy for both parties?
Definitely.
Let me go to Nico first, and then back to you, Ryan.
I want to talk about. I was a lot like this girl during my first relationship. I was always talking to her, and it was affecting a lot of my other relationships. And the way it kind of got through to me was my friend told me, Nico, this is kind of affecting. Basically, you got to tell her what you're saying here. You got to say, hey, this is affecting our relationship. How much you're talking to this person, and you need to spend some time with me. And eventually she'll ease up on it. And she's your best friend. She'll understand.
Can you also say, I'm worried about you because this is a classic controlling, relationship type of situation where this person needs to be having eye contact with you constantly, is very judgmental of the things that you say, so that you're going to, so he's going to beat down your self-esteem to the point where you're going to feel like no one else would ever have you, because that's one of the classic things that controlling mates tend to do.
Exactly. And then when they're not talking to them all the time, when that pressure's off of them, they'll eventually realize, hey, I don't need to deal with all of this. I don't need to be treated this badly. And eventually he's going to have to treat her better, or she's going to leave the dude.
My opinion, that dude is not going to change a ton without therapy. Ryan?
Yeah, I agree with all what you guys just said. But a little bit on a different topic, just kind of interpreting how people function.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to stay away from the notion that he doesn't have control of his life, so that's why he's controlling you. And, I get where Montana's coming from, because a lot of people will say, people reflect their own issues and put them on other people. But having, lived for a year and a half with probably, 40 other different, dysfunctional people, I just don't think that it's a direct, I am mad because at home people are mad at me. It's not, people look at it really plain. So just know that it's probably due to an issue, but don't make it as simple as, walking up to him and being I know you don't have control over your life, and that's why you're doing this. Keo?
Yeah, I think that there is some truth to what both of you are saying in that regard. And that generally, at least how I was when I was growing up, was I kind of emulated who I looked up to. So my eldest brother was kind of like how I am, and that made me turn out how I was. So, I mean, not completely, but there's some truth into, if he has a controlling older brother or father, maybe he's going by example and seeing how his father acts, and that's how he chooses to act.
Or vice versa.
I mean, it feels very fear-based. If he, speaking from his point of view, if I don't control this woman, she will slip away. So
Right.
It feels very fear-based that, just the strength of my caring, my loving personality wouldn't be enough for her to return back to me tomorrow. It would be I need to be watching her constantly, or she may be gone.
Yeah. I think that in the position of being a friend, it's kind of hard depending on how your relationship is, how close you two are and how much she cares about this guy. You need to be kind of diplomatic and not attack him too much, or else she's going to be why are you being so mean to this guy? I like him.
Yeah, you can always say things like, I'm concerned.
Right.
I mean, that's always, I think, a loving thing to say. Yes, Jeff.
Just listening to these questions, it just seems so readily apparent that it would be so much easier if you had no friends
No friends.
because then you don't have to deal with any of these issues. No
Right.
one's going to ask you for advice.
Right.
You just go about your merry way. But the other thing is, it's interesting to me that this guy is so controlling and he wants to be in touch with her all the time, but all of his messages to her are, "You're not that awesome." Okay, so if
Wow.
I'm not that awesome, why do you constantly want to talk to me, text me? Why do I have to be on the end of a very short leash?
Wow.
What I would tell this girl is go online and look up the cycle of abuse, because that's what this is.
Yes.
And, abuse comes in many forms. And in relationships, there's this cycle. And if you read the descriptions of how it works, how it plays out, and how it repeats, someone able to absorb that will understand what this is and will be able to fight their way out of the cycle if they want to. But what you're describing is exactly that.
I agree. I feel like it is, and maybe that's what's key is really looking at it and seeing, oh, this exists elsewhere. It is a thing. It's a known thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this is how you have to respond to it. We're going to jump to the next question because I know we're running out of time, and I did plug a lot of this stuff online, so I want to get to as much as I can. Let's see. Okay, so I'm dating a guy, and he's really nice and funny. He's my best guy friend, but not my type. But there's this one guy who my heart is crazy for. He has this girlfriend who is madly in love, who he is madly in love with, but she doesn't seem that into him. They have been dating for 5 months, I think, and he always talks about how pretty she is. She doesn't make him laugh. She doesn't appreciate him. It seems I can always make him laugh, and he is always trying to get my attention and trying to make me smile. We play jokes on each other, and we're really close and have some connection that nobody understands, and I like him a lot, but he doesn't feel the same. I don't know what to do. So this is the classic case of I like someone who likes someone else who likes someone else. And, what I repeatedly tell kids is like, this is just how it goes until it clicks into place. And these are feelings that everyone needs to experience, but the hands are way up, Ryan.
Yeah, I put my hand up really high for that one.
Really high.
Like I was in a classroom. No, but
Kind of weird.
I am passionate about this one because I think like that last line, "I don't know what to do,"
Yeah.
is I don't know if what I should do is what I want to do. That's what I think that really is.
Ah.
Because and look, maybe you don't know what to do, but let me tell you, the thing you should do is nothing. It's this guy's relationship with someone else, and it's easy to get jealous. It's easy to think that you'd be a better match for this guy, but ultimately that's up to him and her. And even if you don't think it's right, it is what it is, and
It's
it
a
sucks
Taylor
sometimes.
Swift
But you
song.
just, I thought that's just breaking up with people.
No, it's the one where, she's on
Oh.
the bleachers and
I wear
you know,
sneakers or something,
I'm wearing sneakers on the bleachers and you should be with me.
and it's Tuesday or
And
something
there's
like that.
teardrops on my guitar.
I think
and
there's something about Tuesdays.
it could be rain. I'm not sure what's happening.
Typical Tuesday night. Yeah, it's Tuesday night. But yeah, no. So you just got to sometimes put up with this kind of thing and just let it go and move on from it. Nico, what do you think?
I gotta agree with you on the last line there. It's like you gotta really just wait for your chance to strike. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what you're saying. That's exactly what Ryan's
Jeff is
saying.
shaking his head, Nico.
You know what? She answered her own question. There's
Yeah.
one sentence towards the end of
Yeah.
that question where she said something about how, I like him, but he doesn't like me.
Yeah.
That's it. There you go. That's
Even
your
though she
answer.
gave all these other little clues that maybe he does,
It doesn't matter.
we see what we want to see.
Yes, but she said it flat out. That's the answer to the question. He doesn't feel the same way about you. Done.
Can we answer the first part though? Like,
Yeah.
I'm dating a guy and he's really nice and funny, but he's not my type.
You shouldn't be.
Don't date
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
I don't get why you're dating him in the first place. That's
Why do
kind
you
of
have
leading
to
him on.
date someone? You can be single.
There you go, Ryan. I know you like these.
Desperation.
No, this makes me so mad because it happened to me not to me, but it happened to like people around. It didn't happen to me. It happened to like people around me in middle school so much. Don't and like beginning of high school. Don't date people because you want someone to call your girlfriend or boyfriend. Like that is the worst reason to date someone. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but if he doesn't match what you want in a boyfriend, and you get to choose who your boyfriend is, then why is he your boyfriend? Just like it doesn't make sense. Kyo?
Yeah, and I mean, you're doing exactly what the girl that you're envious of is doing. It's kind of hypocritical.
Wife swap.
It
You
is.
seen that
It
show?
is kind of hypocritical because there may be somebody who really likes your boyfriend and is jealous of you because your boyfriend is crazy about you, but you're not that into him. So, I guess sometimes in your life you need to take a few steps back and look at the big picture of like all the characters in the play that is your life and go, am I doing the best I can? Because if we may quote Maya Angelou, because she's probably the smartest person to ever live, and she just passed away this week. But one of my favorite lines of hers is, "When you know better, you do better." So if you know better, so the part that she really means is, if you know better, you ought to do better. And I can certainly understand 14-year-olds really not knowing better. But once you do know better, then it behooves you, and it's incumbent upon you to then do better. So this boy deserves a girlfriend who's really into him, and you're not. So step one is break up with your current relationship. Go ahead, Ryan.
Quick, kind of related, not as much related. Just when you're writing these questions, let us know generally around what age you are. It makes it a lot
super
easier
helpful,
for us
yeah.
to answer this question, because if you're 12, that's different than if you're 18 or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Montana?
Oh, Michael has something. Come here, Jake's. You have to come sit. You need to talk right into the microphone.
There's a line from a play that says, "What I know doesn't help how I feel." So sometimes emotions take over. So just knowing it doesn't mean you can behave differently.
But you have to try. It's in terms of someone else's feelings, is I guess what I'm talking about. Like how you sort of catch up with your own feelings and are good to yourself, or when you're good to yourself. That's kind of, to me, like that's your own clock, and I would want you to be good to yourself like right away. But sometimes you got to just spend a weekend eating chocolate and crying.
Yogi Berra quotes.
But
it with
how you
everything.
treat others, or like to date someone that you're not that into, once you know that that's not okay. Montana.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. First of all, break up with that guy. But the other thing is, it might help that this often, like, the girl who's with the guy she likes, if she's not really that into him, it'll probably, especially if they're teenagers, they'll probably just end up breaking up. And then, so it'll be easier for this girl later on. So just wait a little bit. Sometimes that just time fixes things sometimes.
It does, but you have to create space for time to fix things. And if you're dating
But don't
someone,
try to break it up. It'll make it just exponentially worse.
We had a
I
whole
can't-
debate before the show about how Montana doesn't like space, so don't try and create space to fix it. She doesn't believe in space.
I believe
Montana
I
doesn't
don't like
believe in
space.
She doesn't believe that there can be nothing in an area. She just doesn't believe
I
that.
just don't like it. It makes me feel empty.
You are mostly empty. Like most of
I don't care. I
between-
don't believe I'm empty, so therefore I'm not.
It doesn't work that way.
Thank you, Nico.
Q.
I just wanted to add in, we say break up with the guy that you're with, and I feel like we're just kind of just saying it like it's obvious, but treat him like a person.
Yeah.
As always.
Of
That
course.
goes without saying,
You
but
say
it
you
should be
deserve
said. Like,
someone who's like fully into you.
yeah.
I want to jump to the next question, and hopefully we can get one more phone caller before the end of the show. You've got about 12 minutes to give us a call at 888-531-7171. We are Our Place Out Loud. Nina writes, help! Okay, so this girl on my cheer team the other night said that she has a boyfriend and they have sex a lot. Why she told me this, I do not know. It just really startled me because she's younger than me and I just turned 13. I don't want to tell her it startled me, or that I don't think it's in her best interest to be doing that or be saying that kind of stuff in front of 8-year-olds that still think boys have cooties, because our friendship is still on the rocks, but I'm really concerned with her well-being. I really need help. All right, so this, once again, multi-layered question. So it starts with hearing something very shocking from a 12-year-old and then saying to me, I don't want to tell her that I was startled, and yet you were startled. So people seem to often be like afraid of their own truth. Why wouldn't you be startled to hear a 12-year-old not only say that, but say that in front of you, say that in front of little kids? Obviously, she's somehow crying out for help. Am I alone in that kind of thought, Montana?
Yeah, honestly, I think she might just be saying that because
I hope
she's
but
saying
just
that.
the
I
fact
want to
that
think that
she's-
she's saying that.
Okay,
but
so just imagine that she's just saying it. Why is she saying it?
12-year-olds say things like that because, well, they don't always say things to that extent, but they say things that, like, want for attention because when you're 12, you want to be like, oh, I have a boyfriend and I'm so popular and stuff like that. And she probably wants to be known as, like, the mature one. But, like, in all actuality, she's 12. She shouldn't be having sex. That's not in any way mature. That's just kind of creepy. And the guy who's taking advantage of her like that.
Even if it's another 12-year-old, it's still
That's still
against the
weird.
law.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was that like British couple who was like 13 who like had a baby or something.
Yikes.
Did you see that? That's completely unrelated, but I thought that was the weirdest thing. And then they're like the interviewer is like, "What are you going to do about finance?" And the kid's like, "What's finance?"
Oh, okay. I'm crying inside. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think it's true, but it's like those kind of posts you see on Facebook, like where you're like it's like share this or XYZ will happen. It's like you don't want to because you know it won't happen, but there's like that small feeling that you should share it just in case something happens. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's that
she's-
same kind of feeling. Like, as much as I'm like sure this isn't true, what if it is? Should I do something to help?
Well, should she do something because this kid said something startling and inappropriate in front of 8-year-olds? Should she tell an adult that the kid said this?
Tell
No.
your mom.
I don't think so.
Jeff is saying no.
No, because I believe that in all likelihood it's not true.
Mhm.
And she may be saying it, like you said, that just to look cool, like look how adult I am. And can you imagine the repercussions of reporting this to someone and it turns out that it's not true? You're going to create a gigantic problem for that kid. Yes, it's inappropriate, but what kid doesn't say inappropriate stuff in front of other kids that are younger, older, whatever? I just wouldn't do it.
It still seems like something that you wouldn't know to say unless you had somehow been sexualized. Nah? Nico?
I'm not really sure what to say about all this. I know for a fact she should be talking to her friend first, not to the parents, obviously, like you said, but at least to her friend. Like, hey, don't say this in front of the 8-year-olds. It's kind of weird to say in front of them. I
Yeah.
mean, I thought so.
I think you could pull the kid aside and say, don't talk about that stuff. And I'm not going to get into your personal life, but don't talk about that stuff in front of the little kids. You know, and then go team, because you guys are cheerleaders.
Exactly.
So we're going to read a question from, let's see,
No Thread Theater.
do you want it? We're going to skip Thread Theater.
Oh,
we'll
no,
save it
but
for
it's
next.
all caps.
It's such a good Thread Theater.
The kids are clamoring for it. All right, Jeff, do you have a script? Would you like to be assigned a role?
Sure.
First of all, Nico, I know you want to be Don't Hate the Awesomeness, right?
She's my girl.
That's your girl, right there. All right, so you're going to be Path, Jeff. Can you be Path? Path
Sure.
is one of the wisest people on our place.
Can I be Sal?
So you can be Sal, and then
That's it. Those are the only two.
those are the only parts. Already, curtain up on Thread Theater from the venting section of the app, Religious Freedom.
Oh my God! Don't pray for me. I don't want your religion forced on me. I hate my grandma. She's flipping. Beep. I can't handle this. I'm not Christian. I'm sorry. I'll be open-minded until you force your religion on me. I want to stab myself in the face with a rake. I'm not being literal. I just want to crawl in a ball and cry and listen to Marilyn Manson on full blast. But I can't because I was forced to go to church. I'm so bleeping annoyed and pissed and damn it.
I know how that feels. I know that it's annoying and actually pretty disrespectful for them to do things like that, but they do only have good intentions. It gets maddening almost being told that you're going to go to hell or that you're a dirty sinner. I go to a Christian high school, and it's mind-numbing at times. My favorite part is when they tell me to be open-minded. It's like, duh, I am open-minded. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have left religion. Just try to laugh them off and ignore them. If you ever want to vent more, I'm open. Good luck.
Sal?
When they say that to me that I will go to hell, I sometimes feel like burning up books and symbol and then say to them, "This is hell."
If they're right, they aren't. Then it's either live the rest of your life feeling oppressed to go to a perfect world that's run by the God who oppressed you, or live a good life and then spend eternity in hell. It's like choosing between getting lobotomized and getting your hand amputated in the 18th century.
Path is like my new hero. I'm like going to worship at the Church of Path because this person just always says amazing things. Discuss.
I wanted to start off by saying, don't hate. You don't have to call in again and say I did your voice wrong. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to you. I felt a lot like this when I was starting high school, actually. Like how I felt like religion was getting forced down my throat a lot. I mean, I go to Catholic school, and it's easy to feel like that when you have like mandatory religion classes and everything. well, yeah, I can just relate to that. I just want you to know I'm not making fun of you.
She knows by now and loves you, and I mean, you have all liberties when it comes to Don't Hate because she knows how much we love her. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely gets really stressful, and there's always that weird concept of, like, is it open-minded to say no to this, but then are they open-minded to force it on me? And when wait, what? Did you say something?
No.
Oh, okay. When anything is forced on anyone, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, no one likes it. So that's one of the, like, it happens to be that religion is something that's commonly forced onto people, especially because it's one of the few things that you're born into but can change. You know, you can't really you can't change the color of your skin, or you could change your name, but you know what I mean. You can change it so easily mentally, but it's something you're born into and your family wants to support. So I like to, like, laugh at it, even if it's not. I don't laugh at religion. I laugh at people who force anything on me. If you're if you're calling me a dirty sinner, I'll chuckle that off. And if you're calling me, like, a dirty atheist, I'll also chuckle that off. Like, either way, or, like, whatever it is, I'll just laugh it off and be who I am and care about who I am and just make sure that I'm still being a good person to everyone around me. Montana?
So I was sort of kind of raised Christian by, like, when I was really little, my babysitter used to take me to church all the time, and she was really cool about religion. She's, like, Christian, but, like, the happy kind. And then her church was not so happy. They were like, if you don't read this Bible thing, you're gonna go to hell and stuff. And I was actually really scared.
You were
by
a baby, weren't you?
What?
You said you were a baby, didn't you say that?
I was, like, second grade.
I thought they were
third.
saying an infant to read. I was like,
But she's saying she was old enough to be frightened.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and I was
Religion
scared by
shouldn't
that.
be frightening.
But then, like, I grew up a little bit, and then some stuff happened. And the way I'm not Christian anymore, but, like, I'm still spiritual. But the way I sort of deal with religion, especially when people, like, force it on me, similar to how Ryan deals with it, I just kind of laugh at it. And I view religion as, like, people got together to try to create, like, social norms that were trying to, like, help and greater good. Because if you read the Bible, a lot of it is, like Jesus is just saying, like, share with people, be nice.
or even just like the 10 Commandments are like,
Mhm.
don't kill people.
Don't kill people. And then, like, even the stuff that sounds ridiculous, like, last year I had to do a really long Christianity report on, like, gays in the Bible and how they actually, how, like, that whole thing went down, because people often say, like, oh, the Bible says you can't be gay, so that's just how it is. That was a rule written many, many years ago, because in, like, the Jews, like,
Oh, yeah,
everybody
blame the Jews.
No. Everybody who was attacking them was, like, okay with, like, homosexuality, and they were such a small group that they need to repopulate, so they just banned homosexuality.
They
So
just
it's
said, we need your seed.
yeah, basically, but
Men don't have a uterus.
Wait, why couldn't you be homosexual and also as long as you just, like, reproduce?
They were said,
Why
don't
couldn't
spill,
you-
don't waste your seed.
don't
like,
waste it.
like make
Nah.
babies with it.
It's weird to call it seed. That's
It is.
weird.
It really is.
I'm just quoting the Bible.
But that's how I look at religion. I try to contextualize it and then just kind of laugh it off, how people take it so rigidly right now when it obviously does not apply. We have plenty of Jews.
But don't you think that... No, we still need more
What do you mean?
Jews. What are you talking about? There was a Holocaust.
Oh, no,
No,
not,
but
not,
but they also said there was nothing
No,
about
I
killing
don't-
the Jews
I
in the
don't-
Bible. There was,
I don't mean like we have too many Jews. I mean we have lots. And I like them.
but even like
Don't
even
hate me. I'm not Hitler.
You're fine, Montana. No, no. What you mean
I'm
is...
actually not Hitler.
you
I
can
promise.
Be, you can be a gay Jew, and it's okay. Because we have
but like
enough...
but like no, the part I was
'Cause there's
confused about
sperm
is that
banks
you
now.
said Jews should have kids, and then you're like, and we have Jews, and I'm like, yes. What?
Let Keo talk. He's such a
I
good
don't-
boy. He never says anything controversial.
Unlike Hitler over there.
That was cute.
I got
That
a
was
follow-up
cute.
question on that.
Okay, we're going long today. Well, we started late anyway. All right,
I
go ahead,
think
Keo.
that people are no matter what it is, there's going to be people who disagree with the way that you think, even if it's not religion. It could be just your philosophy on life. And certain people are going to be like, no, you should think my way, and you disagree with them. So I don't think you should necessarily like take it personally every time. Otherwise, it's going to hurt a lot.
It's
because
really
there's a lot
hurtful
of
when
people.
you've got a 16-year-old kid who's being yelled at and being called names and being told that she's going to hell. Like, how is
Yeah.
that not going to hurt a kid? Just
Yeah.
because she was sick that day, because I know more about this story. She was sick, she was up at night throwing up, and she just didn't want to go to church, and then she's being called a sinner. That's hurtful. And when she went into our place and vented, she really was,
Right,
how
right,
angry
right.
is your angriest? That's where she was.
That's good that she vented then.
Yeah, I'm glad she did. Ryan.
It's always great if someone calls you something to just say "and proud." You're a sinner, and I'm proud.
Yeah.
Because then they don't really know how to respond to that, because they can just call you a sinner again, and you can say "I'm proud" again, and then it'll just be like a childish argument. The reason I was chuckling though is before we came in here, Keo and I were having a debate about philosophy, and he was talking about other people's philosophy, and ultimately came down to when is a reasonable time to take an extra pizza slice and have more than your fair share. And it's all, and like I kind of just realized while he was talking, it's all relative. I think it's totally polite to say, does anyone want that pizza? And if no one says anything, take the next slice of pizza. Keo thinks that you should wait until everyone's had an opportunity to give it a lot of thought. And I figured, well, if you don't answer, that just kind of means no. But he thinks that could be undecided.
Well, that wasn't quite my argument, but
My bad. Anyways, the general point is he has a good intention. I think I'm allowing everyone the opportunity that they need. So I have a good intention, and we're just going about it different ways.
Just don't give it to Sarah. She wastes pizza.
Yeah, she'll slap it out of my hands.
Jeff.
Okay, there was a survey. I'm actually glad this came up. The thing about Jews in the world, because an article came out. Actually, a study that was conducted over 30 years just came out, I think, last week, and it demonstrates how little people all over the world actually know about Jews. So, for example, there's 1 billion people in China. There's 1 billion people in India. There's 330 million people in the United States. But if I asked you, just to guess, how many Jews do you think there are in the entire world? Just pick a number. Like I said, there's 330 million people in the United States.
Oh, is it me? Oh
Yeah.
no.
No, I'm just throw a number out there. There's about 15 million people in the greater Los
say-
Angeles area. There's 15 million people in
People or-
LA. How
Okay.
many Jews in the entire world?
15 million. 6 million.
No, you're close though. It's 14 million.
I was right.
Yeah, 14 million. So they're actually the biggest minority in the entire world.
It's less than
2% of the United States population is Jewish. Just 2 out of
What do you
100
mean
people.
biggest minority?
In terms of worldwide religion, because I just looked this up for a kid because she wanted to know what percentage of people were Christian. I just looked up worldwide religion. Jews represent less than 1% of the religions on planet
When you say
Earth.
the biggest minority, does that mean the most small?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
The tiniest.
The
The
tiniest.
biggest
tiniest.
tiny. We're the biggest tiny.
Okay.
And by the way, for people that have never had a religious experience, if you want to have one, there's a place that neuroscientists have discovered in the brain called the God spot. And if they hit that with a little bit of electrical current, you will see God, hear God,
Speak tongues.
and you will be imbued with
That is the
with the
coolest
power.
thing. I want
That
to do
is
that
so
so
cool.
badly.
Yes.
Like,
It
I
How
don't-
do you get to do it?
How do
Is
you
it
do
like
it?
a ride? Do
You probably
you
have to
have to
pay
wait in
some
line?
Jewish doctor to do it.
Pay some Jewish
there's
talk.
so few Jews in the world, and yet there's so many of us in this room. It's like,
Well,
we're-
this is Los Angeles,
that's true.
and
And this is like Sherman Oaks,
It's
and
an
it's
aberration.
show business.
Wheezy's house.
So and it's and I'm Jewish, so I might know people who are Jewish. Just like if I were Christian, everyone here might come from a Christian school or something like that. So
That's true.
I tend to want to have like a nice cross section of everybody. But since I'm the host and I'm Jewish, there might be a couple more Jews than usual in the mix. Yes. Are we winding down, Montana?
Oh no.
Ryan.
There's a really good book called Yes, But Is It Good for the Jews? My friend Sebi has it. It's basically anything you could think of that's like a dictionary word. It has it. It has a brief description and then an entire numerical sequence to determine whether or not it is good for the Jews, starting from A and going to Z. And there's also
Should
like
we
numbers in
really be
between.
that selfish?
Just get it on Amazon. Get it on your Kindle.
No, I
It's
mean,
like $9.
shouldn't things be good for everyone?
I don't know, but it's a wonderful book.
You know
It
what's
really
funny,
is.
though? If every Jew in the world bought a copy, they'd probably still lose money on it.
and let me tell you also, eBay and alcohol are two that are not good for the Jews.
Right. Don't drink and buy.
It has to it has to do with their like different like they have like different like possible world effect number and they calculate that, and then there's like the anti-Semitic number and they calculate that, and it goes into this whole equation, and then it like spits out like
The
number.
Jews are overthinking. Thank you so much for being with us, Jeff Schimmel. We are Our Place Out Loud, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
I've been out there wandering. I've been in here wondering, hoping reaching or wishing I could find my way, then now